Hello students, I welcome you all to Current Affair Lectures by Azad ICS Academy, and today we are going to look into the current affairs of 14th and 15th, as 14th was a holy, and today I'll be looking into one of the important article from 14th and one important article from 15th of March. So let us see the current affairs for today. Before we go for that, let us see what are the important question that we have discussed and what is the answer for it. How long does it take to make a single Telangari topi using the traditional method? It is 20 days. So this is the right answer. And we had discussed about this, and we have also seen that from past 6 months, this particular topi has not been made by the maker, that is Mr. Rahim, and he has told that he could not get the institutional support and some other support that he needed. That is the reason why this was not continued, and which was there since 14th century onwards, but now it is not there anymore, or hence that production is not going to happen anymore. Right? So now let us see the first important topic that we're going to discuss for 15th of March is that is Aditya L1 mission. Scientists observe a fearless coronal mass ejection. So there's a mass ejection that's happening and that is being observed. And this is one of the important topic of science and technology, which is going to be important because Aditya L1 is an important Indian mission, which is trying to find out the important topics related to sun. So here we can see that there is a fearless coronal mass ejection that has happened and that has been observed with the help of Aditya L1 mission. We have discussed more in detail about Aditya L1 mission in the previous lectures also, where we have discussed current affairs. I've told you why the name is L1, because it is placed in the Lagrange's 1 point, right? So hence, I think all of you are aware of this. On 5th July 2024, scientists observed a fearless coronal mass ejection using Aditya L1 mission. VELC, improvising understanding the solar mass instability. So we have understood this. So what is this? Visible emission line chronography instrument that was there on the Aditya L1 mission. They may ask you what are the important instruments. So here we have an instrument which is known as visual emission line chronography. So see, chrono basically refers to here again sun and sun related stuff. So coronal mass ejection. So chronography instrument onboarded on Aditya L1 mission. So here we have to understand that Indian Institute of Astrophysics have reported that they have been found out this. The L1 mission is India's scientific mission dedicated to study the sun, and payload was developed on the Bengaluru-based Indian Institute of Astrophysics, right? So scientists associated with Indian Institute of Astrophysics have said that they have used this particular VELC, that is nothing but visible emission line chronography payload. It was possible to observe a corona not only closer to where it was based its location in the solar atmosphere, but also obtain a data at a shorter time interval compared with the other existing chronographies in the orbit. So they are saying that in this particular orbit, there are other chronographies also, but our scientists or our this particular payload that we have in India, installed by India, that is visually emission line chronography, has been collected data in a very short interval. It is not only taking the coronal mass ejections, but also collected some data. So the team observed that the onset of this particular coronal mass ejection that erupted from the sun on July 5th, 2024, with no association to any other flare. So this is some of the information that we have to understand. Now let us see more in detail what is the magnetic stability and etc. about this particular thing, and why do we have to do this. See, with the sun approximately peaking the solar cycle 25, these coronal mass ejections are accepted to become more frequent. The continuous monitoring of the sun will provide valuable data for both Indians and global scientific communities. This unique design is going to help us study the sun surface, improve the understanding and associated with solar flares. So these are the reasons why we are trying to have this kind of, understanding of what is present on the sun. So to understand that, we have this particular magnetic instability, we have this particular Aditya L1 mission. Okay, so nature of this particular coronal mass or or solar flares is that solar flares and coronal mass ejections are powerful explosions of the sun caused by the magnetic reconnection because of the magnetic instabilities that are there on the sun. Here you can say they said that the data obtained from the valuable clues to understand the differentiate the magnetic instabilities on the sun that cause these flares. So you may ask why these flares are coming or why this coronal mass ejection is happening. It is because of the magnetic instabilities that are there in the sun. Okay, the result of the study will appear soon in the Astrophysical Journal, a international peer-reviewed scientific journal, where all the other people can also see what is there in this particular journal. Okay. Now, solar flare releases energy in the form of electromagnetic radiation when heated plasma. Okay. This particular coronal mass objection involved a massive ejection of plasma and magnetic field weighing about trillions of kilograms and moving at the speed of 3000 kilometers per second. So they are giving us some of the information also regarding the same. So I will write this down so that you're aware of this. So here it is mentioned anyways 3000 kilometer per second, and you can also see that it is weighing for about trillion kilograms a race towards the sun. So here you need to understand how closely we are trying to monitor this. Hence, you can see that what all is coming along with the energy that is there is electromagnetic radiation in the form of heated plasma. Okay. And they're also giving us some of the specifications of this particular coronal mass ejection as well. Right. So we have to understand when it was launched. This particular Aditya L1 was launched on 2nd September 2024. 2023. Right. And the distance is somewhere around 1.5 million kilometers from the Earth, right? And the cost is, the time that it has taken is 4 months. The payload that we all have here is ELC and other digital magnetometers, etc. So to understand what exactly, why have we have this particular Aditya L1 mission, so that we are trying to understand what is there is to study the sun. The location is the Lagrange's point 1, placed on the halo orbit of Lagrange's point 1. And these are some of the important things that we have to understand when it comes to this particular topic of Aditya L1 mission. Right. So the next important topic that we have is the hantavirus and how does it spread. See, we have discussed about different types of viruses. This is one of the important article that is there in your 14th of March. A very important thing that we need to understand when it is diseases, when there are new kind of diseases that are coming, when there are new kind of viruses, especially when it is virus, that is when you have to be very careful. The reason is because these viruses are going to be very difficult to tackle. They, you can see that they are going to cause severe respiratory illness and also internal bleeding with kidney failure. So that is why this is something that is supposed to be paid attention to. According to US Center of Disease Control and Prevention, hantaviruses are family of viruses that can cause severe potential fetal illness, including hantapulmonary syndrome and hemorrhage fever with renal syndrome. So characterized by severe respiratory illness and internal bleeding with kidney failure. So this is what is it going to do. If this virus is attacking you, you will face a lot of issues, especially you may get a pulmonary syndrome, hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. And apart from that, it can also cause you respiratory illness with the internal bleeding that will cause your kidney failure. The recent passage of Hankman's wife is of renowned American actor Gene Hackman has drawn attention of this particular deadly virus. Now, why this is in news? Because one of the important celebrity of this particular, person, wife has been passed away, and that is the reason, this particular, that particular person is suffering from this virus, and that is why this virus is in news. Although cases are rare, the severity of illness makes it understanding its spread, symptoms, and treatment option is crucial. So we know that it is not going to spread everywhere, but the way it spreads, what are the symptoms, is something that we need to be aware of, right? Now, how does this particular virus occur? Hantaviruses are the family of viruses that are carried by certain rodents, such as it could be rats, such as deer mice, white-footed mice, rice rats, and cotton rats. So you can see these are the rodents that can cause this particular hantavirus. They may ask you this in prelims: which of the following mice can cause hantavirus? Most of the time, all of them. But yes, do know deer mice, white-footed mice, rice rat, and you also have cotton rats. According to CDC, human typically it should be contacted hantavirus through contact with infected rodent waste, primarily via aerosolation when distributed contaminated materials such as sweeping or cleaning infested areas. So whenever a person is cleaning this particular place where these rats have, made, when they have excretion is done and they are cleaning it, at that point of time, they may get affected. Okay, according to the World Health Organization manually, antivirus are the family of viruses which with serve stains exhibiting varying degrees of severity. The infection causes flu-like symptoms, such as what happens if you are suffering from this virus. You will have symptoms like fever, muscle ache, fatigue within 1 to 8 weeks of exposure, followed by the severe respiratory phase characterized for shortness of breath, cough, and chest tightness. These are some of the secondary symptoms that you will find, which can be rapidly accelerated to acute respiratory diseases and potentially fatal outcome without prompt medication. If this is not treated well, then there will be a fatal a situation wherein a person can also die. High risk group include people who work or live in radon prone areas such as farmers, construction workers, campers, and homeowners with radon infestations. The CDC also emphasizes that the children under 5, pregnant women, and individual weakened immune system should be avoided handling pet radons as well. So people who are like children or people who are having less immune system, and individuals who are, I mean, if the women is pregnant, so such kind of people should not be handling any kind of rodents is something that they're telling us. This is basically caused by rat rodents especially. So what are the current treatment options? Currently, even though there is no specific antiviral treatment or cure for hantavirus, medical care focuses on managing symptoms and supporting the patients through the most dangerous phases of the illness. In cases of this particular hantavirus syndrome, patients are often given oxygen therapy to ease breathing difficulties. Severe cases may require intensive care, including mechanical ventilation to assist lung functions. Early detection and immediate medical attention are crucial for preventing severe respiratory distress. Preventing methods through rodents control and adherence to proper sanitation protocols is something that is crucial. So we need to make sure that the sanitation is good. That is when this kind of diseases will not spread is something that we are supposed to be aware of. Now, please let me understand, or I want you to understand that this disease is not in India. This is something that's happening in US. But yes, we should be aware of such kind of diseases, and we should also be aware how this kind of diseases are getting transferred and etc. So today I have discussed both the important topics related to science. One is related to Aditya L1 mission and another is related to hantavirus. Try to have more information about this particular virus and be aware. If there are any rodents in your house, also try to make sure that you're keeping them away, right? So let us see some of the important questions. I've given important questions on both the topics. What is hantavirus? So please try to identify the question here, right? And how is hantavirus primarily transmitted to humans? So this is something that we need to write. There's one more question that I have put regarding the Aditya L1 mission. Which instrument onboarded Aditya L1 mission used to observe the flares control mass ejection? I think this is very clear. Answer is there in the options itself. I think if you've understood or listened to the class also clearly, you will be able to answer these questions. Try to put your answer in the comment section and also try to put some explanation if you're aware of any kind of explanation to this particular questions, so that it becomes easier for us to understand, okay, that the classes are being effectively used by the students. If you have any suggestions, please put those also in the comment section so we can easily identify and overcome all the negativities or negative comments that we have and make the classes much better. Thank you so much.